Dubai property prices have surged more than 60% in some areas since 2022. But with thousands of new units about to hit the market, the question every expat investor is asking is this: is the Dubai property bubble about to burst? You see, I've guided investors across Dubai and Abu Dhabi for the past 3 years, from small apartments to luxury villa redevelopments, you name it. You see, and what I'm seeing right now, it's unlike anything we've faced before. Because if you get this wrong, you could overpay by at least 15%, struggle to exit a deal, or even get trapped in an off-plan project or a project you just can't resell. But if you get it right, you'll be on the other side of the investors who ride the next phase of growth instead of being crushed by it. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what the latest data actually says about the Dubai property market, where demand is moving to next, where smart money is going, and where communities are best placed to thrive, and of course, how to position your capital so you don't get caught on the wrong side of 2026. So let's start with the numbers, because everyone's talking about an oversupply, corrections, but very few people are looking at what the data actually shows. According to multiple reports, we're looking at a moderate correction of up to around 15% across certain sectors between 2026 and 2027, following record highs, and around 25,000 new apartments have already handed over this year, and over 300 are expected in the next 32 months. It's not a disaster though, it's a wake-up call to be selective. Off-plan now makes up nearly 70% of the transactions in the market, and secondary is tightening, which tells you that end-user demand is solid, but speculative flipping is definitely slowing down. You see, rental renewals are actually up by 70% of all leases, meaning tenants are staying put, which means stability, so don't panic. And just so you know, I spend hours each week on in-depth research in the Dubai property market. And if you want to stay ahead of these shifts, I've set up a private WhatsApp community where I share the latest Dubai property news, market updates, and exclusive off-market deals before they hit the public. So if you're serious about investing in 2026, make sure you join. The link is in the description. Now that you understand what's happening with supply, let's talk about where the demand is actually going, because this is where most investors get it completely wrong. Now, this section of the video is very important. Where is smart money moving to? So we'll get into areas and all that in a minute, but there's 3 fundamentals. Number 1 is quality. That's quite obvious. Scarcity, when I dive into this, you'll understand, because scarcity is one of those things that people don't truly grasp. And then long-term fundamentals. All right, people have this obsession that Dubai is this lottery ticket, this quick in and out kind of thing. I'll be honest, there was a time when most off-plan you bought performed well. As in, you know, you'd buy it today and in a year's time you can sell it, because there were little launches, you know, 2021, 2022, it just started picking up then, and, you know, prices were cheap and people wanted to, then as soon as that second wave of buyers came in 2023, they were picking up the stuff from 2022 and so forth. But that's changed. You can see the amount of things that are launching, you can see how much off-plan is coming to the market. So now it's more important than ever to tick these 3 boxes. I want to touch on 3 areas that I get a lot of comments and a lot of queries about. And it's 3 areas that are heavily marketed. And I'll give you my honest feedback on them. And this is the classic Maritime City, Dubai Islands, and Port Rashid, Mina Rashid by Emaar. Now, funny thing is, I've sold properties in all 3 of these locations. So fundamentally, I do believe they are good long-term plays. I think one of the biggest misconceptions a lot of people have is that these are quick flips, all right? You see, each one of these locations has its pros and has its cons. And each one of these locations will eventually, I believe, have its own sort of uniqueness about it. You know, we know Dubai Islands is going to have the golf course, the wellness. It's going to have, you know, a lot of hotels, all this kind of stuff that's coming over there. You got Maritime City. It's meant to be sort of a flagship project with a lot of the land, or a majority of the land, being owned by the sub-brand of Omnia Beyond. And then also you've got a lot of other developers in there, which I do like. You know, you've got Select Group, very much a fan of Select Group. I like Beyond, I think they're great. And then of course you've got Mina Rashid by Emaar. So we know Emaar build great communities. I live in Dubai Hills. They build great communities, and if they did it by the waterfront, I have no doubt it'll be great. But you see, the reason why I don't push these projects on my YouTube channel is because I have to see what value I'm bringing to my clients. You're going to reach out to me because you're asking me for advice where I should put my money. You know, like, I need to put it somewhere good. I want this is my objective. This is the outcome I'd expect. And generally the outcome you'd expect is capital appreciation, long-term rental yield, potential short-term rental yield as well. So it's either one of these things. But in the case that you're an end user, then yes, these locations might be perfect for you. And what I mean by that is, as an investment right now, well, guess what? When I sold these properties, you know how much I sold them for? Between 2,000 and 2,300 dirhams per square foot. Now, no matter how underdeveloped a community is in Dubai, if you're getting a property at that price point, you're going to make money at some point in the future, okay? Now, again, I don't get investors to put their money into things with this sort of like get rich quick scheme. The mindset in Dubai needs to change. Like, it's no longer buy now, sell in 1 year when you buy off plan. It doesn't work like that. We focus a lot on renovations to sort of fulfill that desire that the clients want, you know, for that investment purpose. But that's another story we'll get into later. Right now, we're seeing these products, you know, especially for the good views, which is very important if you're buying onto these properties. You know, if you're on Dubai Island, you want to be closer to the waterfront. If you're on Maritime City, you want to be closer to the water here. And the same with Port Rashid, right? You want to be sort of ocean facing, or at least getting a good view. Now they're trading between sort of like 3,000. I have no doubt soon enough they're going to be touching 3,900 soon, you know, because beyond our launching, a lot more over there. You know, Dubai Islands is still massively, you know, undersold in a sense that there's a lot of land left. So there'll be so many more launches coming up. You know what? It might even hit 4,000. Who knows? Okay. Now the problem you've got, if you start paying these kinds of prices at the point of where these developments are now, then it's very questionable where this is going to go, you know? Now, for me, if an end user comes and says, Joe, you know what, I'm looking for like a 4-year plan where I've got a property that I can move into in the next 4 years. I want to be closer to the downtown region. I want to be on the waterfront. I want a luxury development. I'm not too bothered about like that crazy capital gains or rental yield because I want to live there, you know? I want something with a nice view. Then either one of these could work, you know? It could. But if you're coming to me now, like a lot of people do, looking for capital appreciation, you know, I'm looking for, let's say, you know, something to happen in the next 2 years. Well, you see, what people aren't marketing, okay, is that these are very new communities, meaning, I mean, look, the Palm Jumeirah is still getting built on. The Palm Jumeirah is over 20 years old. You're talking now, let's say, Maritime City. I'd say the real growth is going to start happening in 2029 to 2030. Port Rashid, honestly, I think a little bit sooner because there's a lot more developed there already. 2028 to 2030. Dubai Islands, it's a vast amount of land. I mean, look at the size of it. I'm talking like 2030 up to 2033. And if you're prepared to hold out for this time period, then yes, I do believe these investments will grow. For example, Dubai Islands, you know, the flight path for some people is a bit of an issue now, but as soon as we transition over to the Al Maktoum airport, which people say is going to be next year, people say all sorts of stuff in this market, it's probably going to be in the next 6-7 years. You know, it's not going to be anytime soon. And if you're willing to wait for that kind of thing, then yeah, Dubai's a long-term play. We're moving into a more mature market. And the reason why I've mentioned these 3 areas is because they're heavily marketed and a lot of people come to me. And I like to uncover what I think. If you're an investor looking for capital appreciation now, with all due respect, you've kind of missed the boat on these places. If you'd bought 18, 20 months ago, you know, you could have got in at a good price. But now, heavily marketed, I think they're oversold. And guess what I think will happen? This is what I think. In the next 2 years, people have over-leveraged, and I have no doubt that we're going to see a lot of distressed sales in these 3 locations. Not because it's not going to rise in value and they're bad investments, it's because people are sold on, you'll be able to sell it in 2 years, you'll be able to sell it in 18 months, you'll be able to sell it next year. Those brokers are probably the brokers that aren't going to do the full circle, all right? They're not going to be there at the end when you give them the keys. No, I'm generally the person that does that for my clients, okay? So this is what you have to be careful with. If you are buying into these locations, now I'd be buying as an end user, probably not an investment. So a lot of people are saying, where is the smart money moving? And we need to determine what kind of buyer profile is going to be buying that property from us at the end, okay? You've seen my videos about renovations. Highly renovated properties, okay, in master communities is what people are buying from us. And that's why our clients are making a great success when it comes to reselling them. But let's just say you're buying in the off-plan market. You know, we need to look at what key locations are people purchasing properties now in the future will buy for a premium. I mean, if we just look at the map now, there's a few that stand out. Palm Jebel Ali is one, okay? We know that the Palm Jebel Ali is going to be a replication of the Palm Jumeirah. We're seeing huge transactions. There's a garden home that just sold here for 72 million dirhams, a highly renovated garden home. That's one of the smallest types of villas that exist on the front here. 72 million dirhams, okay? That's a record-breaking transaction. The fact that you can still pick up those smaller villas here for like 30, 40, it says a lot. There's potential growth, but this is like a 7 to sort of 10-year plan, okay? People just think, oh, buy Palm Jebel Ali now, sell in 2 years. This is double the size, okay? And they're still building on the Palm Jumeirah, okay? This is gonna take a very long time for all the retail, all the hospitality, all the restaurants, everything to grow, all the road systems, the sewage, you name it, it's gonna take a long time. And then you've got other key locations. You've got Imar's new Grand Polo. You've got the Oasis villas that are gonna be launching. You've got the Acres by Maras. You've got other sort of pockets of villa communities coming in the middle by Al Dar. And then you've also got the expansion of Dubai Hills. We're starting to see more and more come up here. And the thing that you're going to see in common with all of these are their master plan communities developed by high qualified developers who are known to create these mass projects. And I've said it time and time again, if you're coming into the market, and you want to branch into this, then your sort of entry point now is going to be around 8 to 10 million dirhams just to get your foot in the door. But this is where the real growth is happening, because I would say that the market's been flooded with bang average products. We're seeing a ton of apartments come into the market. So as I mentioned in my previous videos, you've got Business Bay, you've got Creek Harbour, you've got all these other locations just building apartments, okay? And as much as, people will always want to live in apartments, it's just going to be highly competitive. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're going to lose money if you buy an apartment. And to be honest, would I sell an apartment? 100% yes, if the price is right. Okay, and then as we look further out, we know we've got the Valley, okay, we've got Shoba Elwood. There's going to be a couple of other master planned communities here. This is more affordable. I mean, definitely by the Valley, you're looking at a sort of 3.5 million, a little bit less actually, dirham entry, okay, to a townhouse. I live in Dubai Hills now, which is around here. And if you buy into this location for a 3-bedroom townhouse, the same size, you're looking at 4.5, maybe 4.3 to 4.7 basically. Okay, so for the same thing. Distance-wise, well, yeah, of course, you're compromising on the distance, because for me, Dubai Hills is convenient. It wouldn't make sense for me to live in the Valley. But the type of person that might rebuy the Valley, they could be working in somewhere like Motor City, which is going to be growing here, and the commercial hubs are going to be changing. And as the city expands out, this becomes not too far away. So you see, we're always thinking logically in these scenarios, okay? So now you might be thinking, oh, Joe, everyone's just talking about master communities. That's all you bang on about. There must be something else in the market. Well, actually, if you're the type of investor that sees long-term vision and long-term growth and can appreciate the value of the product that you get for the price you're getting at it, then there might be something interesting in this little coastline for you here, okay? Now, between this coastline, we're starting to see an array of projects come up, and this is between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Just to name a few, you've got Imkan Developers, you've got Bain by Aura, you've got Awana by the Sea. These are all key developments that are quietly getting built between this proximity between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And you know what's interesting? For example, in the Al Jurf project by Imkan Developers, you can pick up a 5-bedroom for around 6 million dirhams, 4,800 square foot plot, and it's situated around here, okay? I'm not really zoomed into the map now, so you can't see it so well. But, I'm looking at now exploring these options, because someone said to me rightfully, well, who would live there, Joe? And I said, well, thinking about it, I would love to live in Abu Dhabi. But truthfully, it doesn't make sense for me to live in Abu Dhabi because all of my business is conducted in Dubai. I don't want to drive there. But if someone offered me, let's say a good rental, all right, proposition to live in this location, where actually it's just down the E11 and I'm in Dubai in say 35 minutes because there's not realistically going to be any traffic on this road compared to in the heart of Dubai where it's just congested, right? Then maybe I might be like, you know what, that would make sense. I'll get near the waterfront, I'm in a quiet planned master community, I'm living by the ocean. All right, that sounds great, but how much does it cost? As I said, between like 6 and 10 million, you get your entry point into these locations. Of course, there are more premium villas on the actual beachfront, which can range from 17 to 25 million. But the fact that you're in the middle of both locations could be a good value proposition, right? And I will make videos where we go down to these investment opportunities and explore them more. But the idea is that we're searching now. We've got to look outwards. We've got to look with a bird's eye view. Because as this market matures, prices get more competitive. Land inside of Dubai is now getting, humongously expensive compared to what it was. So developers have to charge more, but there's a limit on how much people will pay. So developers are looking outwards along the rest of the coastline. And for me, living between Abu Dhabi and Dubai is quite valuable because the amount of people that work between the two, it's quite a big demographic. might be comparing it to Ras Al Khaimah and Dubai. There'll be a lot less people that would travel between those locations because RAK is obviously primarily a casino type island, going to attract visitors, but it's not a working island. It's not an island where there's big corporations set up. That's not where businesses are positioned. But Abu Dhabi is, so you're in the middle of them both. All right, and this is what I'm now exploring with my clients. Okay, so this is how we're thinking. We're thinking for the long term. And no, this is not going to be a quick 1-2 year flip. These projects are going to be delivered 2028, 2029. And of course, a brand new master community by the ocean. It's not, let's say in 2028, all right, you might get your keys, but just allow it to develop a little bit longer, People are so in a rush to sell it here, But people I know who sold in Arabian Ranches Sahil at 3 million dirhams for a standalone villa, okay, in 2019, are kicking themselves now because we're buying them for 8.5 to renovate, but the power is just holding on, let it mature more, let the community become more affluent. These are the things, this is the mindset you have to have as an investor now. Wait longer, hold on for longer, see the value in holding on. I don't know why everyone just has this like get in and out of Dubai's mindset, because now we're entering a mature market. And now the next one I'm going to cover is Abu Dhabi. I'm talking about this more and more on my channel now. Why? Again, I chase where the value lies. We're seeing projects like Hudriyat Island. Okay, I know this might not be for everyone, and I've talked about it in the past few videos. Starting prices are 10 million, but for a 5 to 10 minute walk to the ocean on a 40-60 payment plan, that's incredible. We're seeing projects on Yas Island, just, on the waterfront, 2,500 dirhams per square foot. Okay, literally waterfront facing properties. Within minutes, well, let's say a taxi drive to the F1, you're near the Yas circuit. These are prime Airbnb spots, okay? I mean, obviously a little bit seasonal, but the fact that Abu Dhabi is now putting a lot of infrastructure build, because they want to increase tourism, you're in for safe bets. It's a lot more controlled in terms of land regulation and who gets access to build there, so supply is very much more limited. For me, I also see that, a lot of these islands around Saadiyat, we're seeing little pockets of interesting developments coming up. We know there's a Four Seasons that's getting built just on the Saadiyat Island, just behind Hudriyat. The Bulgari is going to be, well, it's announced that they're going to start. I don't know when it's going to launch exactly, but we've got ears on the ground over there. And the fact that a lot of the payments are linked to construction, a lot of these developers have to be heavily regulated over there. It's a very interesting proposition now to be exploring this side of the map. For some reason, a lot of people, well, even myself, we slept on Abu Dhabi, we just didn't really think anything of it. Oh, it's just that emirate down the road. But as people start to move here, especially families, they actually look at Abu Dhabi. It's like, well, I would live there because it's a lot less hustle and bustle. It's a lot quieter, it's a lot more peaceful. People aren't driving like maniacs, to get from destination to destination. There's not hundreds of thousands of workers all trying to build, in one location. It's a lot more controlled. So naturally, there's a lot less sort of flow of traffic, which is what people desire, and it's preference where you want to live. I like Dubai, I like the hustle, I like the bustle, I like the, meeting people, but I do feel like Abu Dhabi is now a place that if you are an investor, I would 100% start to look at, because now, as the values start to get more and more expensive, like I just said before, 2,500 dirhams for a Yas Island, 2,500 dirhams per square foot for a waterfront facing property, or you go to Marriott, which is already fully built, by the way, with loads of tourist attractions, but then you go to Maritime City, where it's 3,500 dirhams per square foot. Yes, Maritime City is in Dubai, which is known for more tourism, but can we justify the fact that it's 1,000 dirhams per square foot more and has one completed building on it? You tell me. And the final one I want to talk about, buy, renovate, flip. This is our entire business model, and we created this because we saw investors coming to us who were just looking for more of a strategy than just buying off-plan. A lot of my investors actually buy off-plan and renovate properties at the same time. And the reason we like this market is because it's lucrative. The demand for turnkey homes in Dubai is exponential. You'd be surprised how many people are actually just looking for a place where they can walk in and they can sleep there that night. It is insane. And especially if you do it right, because what we see is a lot of handed over villas that are brand new. People are walking in and saying, yeah, it's all right, it's a little bit underwhelming for the price. And then they go and see the adjacent community, like ours in Arabian Ranches, or the previous ones we've done in Meadows and Emirates Hills, where people have walked in and said, wow, this is stunning, I want to buy it. And of course, at the same time, we make our investor a lot of money. And our business keystone handles this entire operation. So if an investor comes to me and says, Joe, I'm looking to do this, what's the steps? Well, we say respectfully, we don't take projects on less than 10 million dirhams for the acquisition cost. And that's just simply because the competition is so high right now. But we manage the entire process from the sourcing of the property, overseeing the renovation, marketing, resale, everything. So you as an investor can sit back and watch your money work for you while we handle the entire operation. So that's what we do. So just to go over everything we've just said, master plan communities, looking at smart investments in between the main Emirates, potentially even looking elsewhere outside of Dubai to the other Emirate, Abu Dhabi, and then of course, renovations. So this is where the smart money is moving right now. And it's more important than ever to be working with consultants who actually know what they're talking about. There's nothing worse than I see agents lying to their clients just to get a deal done. We've gone way past that point now. Investors are getting smarter, and it's more important that you are just doing that extra little bit of due diligence and figuring out where the smart money is moving so you can actually profit in this growing, amazing market. Now, I know this is a lot of information, but if you want tailored advice, how to apply this to your situation, I'm opening up a few private consultations with myself this month. It's where I sit down one-on-one with investors, look at your budget, look at the map, and plan out 2026's strategy that works for you. So if you'd actually like me to help you personally and position your capital, the booking link is below. So the biggest threat to expat investors in 2026 is not a crash. It's standing still. It's assuming that what worked in 2022, well, it'll work again in 2026. The winners of this cycle will be the ones who adapt early, understand data, and align themselves with Dubai's next phase of growth, the luxury infrastructure-driven era. The city, it's not slowing down, it's evolving. And if you evolve with it, you won't just survive the shift, you'll be ahead of it. So make sure to watch this video next, where I show you exactly which locations to avoid and the ones that will still make you money.